Have you ever wondered why the more love you give, the less it seems to be valued? You pour your heart out, you stay available, you sacrifice sleep, time, and even your dreams, thinking this will make her appreciate you more. Yet slowly, almost invisibly, you feel her respect slipping away. It hurts, doesn't it? Because deep down you believe that love should be enough, that devotion should win respect, that giving more should bring you closer. But the truth is harsher, and unless you face it, you will continue to repeat the same pattern of giving everything while receiving less in return. The human heart is not wired to respect what it can always have. The mind doesn't value abundance when it comes without effort. The more you attach, the more predictable you become, and predictability is the silent killer of attraction and respect. She may have once admired your strength, your independence, your mystery, but with time, your constant availability replaces admiration with irritation. What began as love now starts to feel like weight, not because you are unworthy, but because you have stopped protecting the most important boundary of all, your own self-respect. Attachment feels safe, but safety in excess creates weakness. When every moment revolves around her, when every decision is filtered through the fear of losing her, you send a message you may not realize you're sending. Without you, I am nothing. That single belief, spoken or unspoken, destroys the very foundation of respect. Because respect is born when you stand on your own 2 feet, when your identity does not depend on anyone else, when you can love without clinging and give without losing yourself. Think about it. If everything she needs is always at her fingertips, where is the value in it? What effort does she need to make? What reason does she have to admire you? A man who detaches does not stop caring. He simply remembers that his worth was never supposed to be measured by someone else's response. He lives with strength, and that strength forces others to treat him differently. The paradox is powerful. When you stop chasing, when you stop needing, when you let go of the fear of loss, that is the moment respect begins to grow again. This is why you must listen carefully today. Because the answer to your struggle is not in doing more, not improving more, not in bending further. The answer is in reclaiming yourself, in detaching completely from the illusion that constant presence will buy respect. It never will. But detachment, real detachment, tells the world that you are enough as you are. And when she feels that, when she senses you can walk away without breaking, her respect is not just given, it is earned. Stay with me, because what comes next will show you exactly how detachment becomes your greatest power. Respect does not vanish overnight. It fades slowly, like a candle burning down until there is nothing left but smoke. At first, she admired your confidence, the way you stood firm in who you were. She looked at you with curiosity because there was mystery around you, something she could not fully hold. But as you gave more of yourself without pause, as you erased every boundary in the name of love, what once felt magnetic began to feel suffocating. The tragedy is that most men confuse this shift with a lack of love, when in truth it is the erosion of respect caused by too much closeness and too little strength. Every human being needs space to breathe, to desire, to long for what is not immediately in their hands. When you are always there, always answering instantly, always available, you unknowingly rob her of that hunger. What once excited her now feels predictable. She no longer wonders what you are doing, because she already knows you are waiting. She no longer feels the need to impress you, because your attention costs her nothing. And when something costs nothing, its value is measured the same way, nothing. Respect cannot survive in that environment. Closeness is not the enemy, but closeness without boundaries is. When you collapse your entire world into hers, you lose the weight that once made her look up to you. Respect thrives when there is polarity, when there is a balance between closeness and distance, between giving and withholding, between affection and individuality. Take away that balance and the dynamic collapses. She may still say the words of love, but her actions reveal the truth. She doesn't admire what she no longer fears losing. Think about how you felt when you first met her. There was effort, there was patience, there was curiosity. That feeling existed because she was not yet fully yours. The respect was high because the outcome was uncertain. The mind cherishes what feels earned. But when you hand yourself over without limits, you take away the challenge, and with it, you strip away the very thing that made her drawn to you in the first place. Respect is not maintained by constant presence, but by the discipline to remain whole, even while loving deeply. So the real question is not whether she loves you, but whether she respects you enough to see you as a man who cannot be bent, a man who is complete within himself. Without respect, love becomes fragile, shallow, and temporary. With respect, love becomes strong, resilient, and lasting. Your task is not to cling tighter, but to remember that respect will always live where strength is present. When you restore that strength, when you create space, you bring back the air that love needs to breathe. And in that space, you give her the chance to feel again what she felt in the beginning: admiration, desire, and respect. Detachment is the turning point where everything shifts. It is not about shutting your heart, nor about acting cold, nor about pretending you do not care. Detachment is freedom from need. It is the ability to love without clinging, to give without begging, to walk away without breaking. When you master it, you become unshakable, because your worth no longer depends on anyone's attention. This is the power that redefines how people see you. When you detach, you reclaim the strength that attachment stole, and with that strength comes respect. Think of the energy you carry when you are no longer desperate. Your presence feels different, your silence carries weight, and your words strike deeper because they are not born from fear. A man who is detached is not careless, he is controlled. He does not react to every mood, every test, every withdrawal, because he knows his value does not fluctuate with her emotions. This calm presence is what earns respect. It communicates a silent truth: I am whole within myself, and your love is something I welcome, but never something I need to survive. That truth is magnetic. Detachment creates space where attraction can breathe again. When you are not chasing, she begins to notice. When you are not begging, she begins to reach out. When you no longer lose sleep over her silence, she feels the shift and wonders what has changed. The paradox is undeniable: by letting go, you draw her closer, because people always return to what they fear losing, and detachment reminds her that losing you is a real possibility. This power is not about games, it is about self-respect. It is about refusing to let love make you a prisoner. When you detach, you rise above the cycle of fear and insecurity. You prove to yourself first, and then to her, that your life is bigger than any relationship. That clarity forces her to look at you differently. She can no longer take you for granted, because your actions show that your happiness is not in her control. And it is this independence that rekindles her admiration. The beauty of detachment is that it shifts the balance without a word. You do not have to explain it. You do not have to announce it. You simply live it. And as you do, she feels it. She feels the difference in your presence, in your energy, in the way you carry yourself. Respect is restored not through demand, but through demonstration. When you detach, you remind her of why she was drawn to you in the first place: strength, certainty, and calm independence. These are the qualities that make respect inevitable. And when respect returns, love regains its fire. Value exists only when something feels limited. What is rare is cherished, what is scarce is pursued, and what is abundant without effort is overlooked. Human psychology is built this way. When you are always available, when your time, energy, and attention flow endlessly without boundary, their worth collapses. The very things you believe will win her respect instead become invisible. But when you detach, you create space, and in that space, scarcity is born. Scarcity transforms how she perceives you. Suddenly, your presence feels important again. Your attention regains weight. Your time becomes something she must earn instead of something she automatically receives. Respect grows when she realizes you're not endlessly accessible. It grows when she knows your energy is not scattered everywhere, but directed with purpose. Detachment is not about punishing her with silence. It is about elevating the value of what you give by refusing to hand it out carelessly. When she feels that your attention must be deserved, she treats it differently. She listens more carefully. She values your presence more deeply, and she works to keep your respect. This is the law of value, and it cannot be broken. Think about how people treat gold. Its worth is not just in its beauty, but in its rarity. If gold were lying on every street corner, no one would admire it. The same truth applies here. Your love, your care, your loyalty, these are treasures, but if you place them constantly at her feet without requiring anything in return, they become like dust, unnoticed and unvalued. Detachment restores the shine. It reminds her that what you give is not infinite, that it must be respected, that it carries a cost. Scarcity also shifts the balance of power in your favor. When you no longer rush to respond, when you no longer abandon your goals just to be available, you show that your life matters. You prove that your mission stands higher than constant approval. This creates polarity, and polarity reignites her admiration. She begins to feel that she must invest again, that she must give more of herself to keep your respect. It is in this pursuit that respect grows stronger than ever. The mistake many men make is believing that love should mean unconditional access. But unconditional access destroys the very foundation of respect. Detachment fixes this not by removing love, but by protecting value. Your worth is not in being there every moment. Your worth is in being strong enough to withhold, to walk away, to choose yourself first. And when you do, everything about you becomes rare again. Your presence becomes desired. Your attention becomes powerful. Your love becomes priceless. Scarcity is not about withholding affection. It is about ensuring that what you give can never be taken lightly. That is when respect not only returns, but deepens beyond anything you imagined. Need is the silent destroyer of respect. It hides in your daily habits, in the way you check your phone every few minutes, hoping for a message, in the way your mind circles endlessly around her reactions, in the way your emotions rise and fall depending on her attention. This cycle feels like love, but in reality, it is a prison. The more you need, the less you are valued. The more you chase, the further she pulls away. Respect is never born in neediness. It is born in strength, and strength cannot exist where desperation lives. Breaking this cycle begins with awareness. Every time you hand your peace of mind over to her responses, you shrink. Every time you beg for reassurance through constant checking, you weaken your own position. This energy is felt. She may not say it, but she senses it. She knows when you are anchored in yourself and when you are floating in insecurity. Respect fades in the presence of insecurity because it signals dependence. Dependence tells her that your world is smaller than hers, and no one admires what feels trapped. The antidote is discipline. Replace the habit of waiting with the habit of building. Replace the cycle of overthinking with the cycle of growing. Fill your life with actions that move you forward. Fitness, learning, creating, achieving. When your mind is engaged in building a stronger version of yourself, the grip of need loosens. You no longer sit in silence waiting for her validation, because you are too busy validating yourself through progress. This is not distraction, it is transformation. You become a man who no longer relies on anyone to feel significant. When you break the cycle of need, your energy changes. You no longer chase. You no longer panic when she is distant. Instead, you radiate calm. You give because you choose to, not because you fear losing her. This difference is powerful. It makes her lean in again because now she feels she could lose you. And it is in that shift that respect returns. Respect cannot grow in the soil of neediness, but it flourishes in the presence of independence. The truth is simple but difficult to live. No one can complete you but yourself. As long as you look for completion outside, you will always be vulnerable to disrespect. But when you break free from the cycle of need, when you create wholeness from within, you rise above the patterns that once weakened you. You become untouchable because you are no longer begging for love. You are giving it freely from a place of strength. That strength changes everything. It forces her to see you differently, to treat you differently, to respect you differently. And once you taste the freedom of living without need, you will never return to the chains that once held you down. Respect flows towards strength. It is drawn to stability, to certainty, to the presence of someone who does not bend with every breeze. This is the essence of masculine energy, not aggression, not control, but groundedness. It is the steady force that stands tall no matter the storm. When you live in this energy, you do not need to chase respect because it naturally gravitates toward you. A woman feels it when you're rooted in your direction, when your emotions are not dictated by hers, when your center remains unshaken even in moments of conflict. Masculine energy is not loud. It is not desperate to prove itself. It does not scream for recognition. Its strength is in its silence, in its calm, in its unwavering presence. This is what detachment brings. When you detach from need, you stop reacting to every small test, every shift in mood, every attempt to pull you into weakness. Instead, you remain steady, and that steadiness commands respect. She cannot help but see you as different because so many men collapse under emotional pressure. But you hold your ground, and that makes you rare. Respect thrives on polarity. Feminine energy seeks direction, seeks strength, seeks leadership. When you step into your masculine energy fully, you give that direction, not by force, but by example. You show where you are going in life and you move there with confidence. You are not pulled off your path by temporary emotions because your mission stands higher than temporary discomfort. This gives her something to trust. Trust creates safety, and safety nurtures respect. Clinginess kills polarity. It flips the balance. Instead of being the anchor, you become the one searching for grounding. Instead of being the leader, you become the follower of moods. And the moment she feels you are beneath her emotionally, respect disappears. She cannot admire what she feels she can control. But when you stand unshaken, when you radiate that calm masculine strength, she feels drawn in a way she cannot explain. It is not about dominance, it is about presence. A presence that says, I will not lose myself for you. I know who I am. When you carry this energy, you no longer demand respect because it is given naturally. She senses that your boundaries are firm. She knows your standards are high. She understands that you cannot be swayed by neediness or manipulation. This forces her to meet you at a higher level, and in doing so, her respect grows deeper. Masculine energy earns admiration because it is rare, because it is steady, because it does not seek approval. It commands it. And once you embody it, everything about the relationship changes. Love gains strength, attraction regains fire, and respect becomes unshakable because she now sees you as the man who stands tall regardless of circumstance. Uncertainty is the hidden spark that keeps desire alive. The mind is wired to chase what it cannot fully predict, to crave what it cannot completely control. When every move you make is known, when every reaction is guaranteed, the fire begins to die. Predictability feels safe, but it also feels dull. Respect fades in certainty because there is no challenge, no curiosity, no mystery left to explore. Detachment reintroduces that mystery. It reminds her that she cannot fully read you, cannot fully hold you, cannot fully predict your every thought or action. That uncertainty reignites the flame of admiration. The human brain craves variety and surprise. When rewards come at unexpected moments, the emotional impact is stronger. This is why uncertainty is so powerful. When you detach, you naturally create this space. She begins to wonder what you are thinking, what you are doing, where your focus is. She notices the difference in your energy when you are not constantly available. Instead of being the one who always waits, you become the one she waits for. That reversal shifts everything. Respect grows because she feels you are not easily captured, not easily controlled, not easily defined. Uncertainty does not mean playing games. It does not mean manipulation. It means living in such a way that you cannot be reduced to someone's constant possession. It means having a life so rich with purpose, discipline, and ambition that you cannot always be reached. It means your emotions are not predictable reactions to hers, but grounded responses that come from strength. This is the kind of uncertainty that commands respect, because it carries authenticity. You are not pretending to be different. You truly are different, and she feels it. When she does not know exactly how you will respond, she pays closer attention. When she cannot always predict your every move, she invests more energy in understanding you. And when she senses that your love is not automatic, but chosen, she treasures it more deeply. Uncertainty creates effort, and effort fuels respect. What costs something is valued, what demands energy is respected, and what is not guaranteed is always pursued. Detachment sharpens this dynamic. By pulling back from neediness, you give her the chance to feel uncertainty again. She begins to remember the man she admired at the start, the one who did not reveal everything at once, the one who carried mystery with confidence. That energy forces her to rise to meet you, to give more of herself, to value what she receives. Respect grows not when you make yourself an open book, but when you remain a man with depth, direction, and layers she cannot fully predict. The moment you embrace uncertainty as your ally, you restore the balance of power and bring back the respect that only thrives when mystery is alive. Every moment you hesitate is another moment you surrender to doubt, and doubt is the slow poison that kills potential before it even has the chance to breathe. You were not born to live halfway. You were not placed here to simply exist in the shadows of hesitation. Every fiber of your being was built to expand, to grow, to break through the walls that fear tries to erect around you. You must remind yourself that the discomfort you feel when pushing against your limits is not a signal to retreat. It is the sign that transformation is underway. That pressure, that resistance, is the weight shaping you into who you are meant to become. When you feel the heaviness of struggle, it is proof that you are carrying something worth lifting. Nothing meaningful in life has ever been achieved without the friction of challenge pressing against it. The same heat that melts away weakness is the same force that forges strength. If you avoid the burn, you avoid the rise. If you avoid the tension, you avoid the growth. There is no shortcut to becoming unbreakable. There is only the relentless choice to face what others run from. The truth is that most people surrender not because they are incapable, but because they let the whispers of doubt convince them that it is safer to stay small. They choose comfort over courage, ease over evolution, silence over strength, but you are not here to walk the same path as those who settle. You are here to claim the ground that only the bold ever dare to step on. You are here to demand more of yourself than the world ever expects. Every challenge that confronts you is not an enemy but an invitation to rise above the level you once thought was your ceiling, an invitation to prove that you are more than the excuses you once believed, an invitation to step into a version of yourself that fear can no longer reach. And each time you accept that invitation, each time you lean into the difficulty instead of shrinking back, you gain power that cannot be taken from you. Do not wait for confidence to appear before you move forward, because confidence is not the spark. It is the result of stepping through the fire. You earn belief in yourself by acting when you are uncertain, by standing tall when your knees want to buckle, by choosing persistence when giving up feels easier. That is how you shape yourself into someone unshakable. That is how you cross the distance between who you are and who you are destined to be. Your time is not tomorrow, is not some distant day when the conditions are perfect. Your time is now. Every second you delay is another chance wasted, another gift of life squandered. Seize it, own it, and let the fire within you burn brighter than the fear that tries to hold you back. Strength is not something handed to you. It is something carved out of you in the moments when everything inside screams for you to quit. It is not built in the light of ease, but in the fire of adversity. Every time you endure, every time you refuse to give in, you etch another line of power into your soul. What once felt impossible becomes the very ground you now stand firmly on. What once terrified you becomes the very force that fuels your hunger to rise even higher. You must see that the obstacles in front of you are not barriers, but stepping stones, each one placed to raise you closer to the version of yourself that you were always meant to meet. There will be days when fatigue weighs on you like chains, when your mind whispers that enough is enough, when your body pleads for rest. Those are the exact days that define you. Anyone can keep moving when everything feels light. True resilience is proven in the darkness, in the heaviness, in the silence of struggle. If you walk away, then you teach yourself to give in whenever life presses harder. But if you stand tall, if you move forward when every part of you resists, you create a new standard for yourself that nothing can shatter. The truth is that transformation is not about sudden breakthroughs. It is about relentless persistence. It is about showing up even when the spark of motivation has burned out. It is about building habits so unshakable that even when your emotions waver, your actions remain steady. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not closed by luck or chance, but by the simple decision to refuse surrender, day after day, moment after moment. That consistency compounds into greatness, and that greatness becomes the reflection of who you are. When doubt tells you that you are not enough, remember that doubt is nothing more than a voice built from fear. It does not know your power. It does not know your capacity. It does not know the depth of your determination. The only way doubt wins is if you listen to it, if you allow it to dictate your choices. Silence it not with words, but with action. Show yourself again and again that you are stronger than hesitation, stronger than fear, stronger than every excuse that has ever tried to chain you down. You have already survived every challenge life has thrown at you so far. You have already proven resilience countless times, even in moments you thought you wouldn't make it. That is not coincidence. That is evidence of your strength. Now imagine what happens when you stop just surviving and start conquering. Imagine what unfolds when you channel every ounce of your being into growth, into discipline, into persistence. The future you dream of is not waiting for someone else. It is waiting for you, the you who refuses to quit, the you who understands that greatness is built one choice at a time. Greatness does not come to those who wait for perfect conditions, because perfect conditions will never arrive. It comes to those who move forward in the chaos, who build in the storm, who create progress in the midst of uncertainty. You cannot afford to delay your growth until everything feels comfortable. Comfort is the very thing that robs people of their potential. The ones who rise are the ones who embrace discomfort, who understand that the pressure they feel is not punishment, but preparation. Pressure molds you, it sharpens you, it forges the kind of character that cannot be broken by the weight of challenges. Every time you resist the urge to stay small, you expand. Every time you push against the resistance inside your own mind, you evolve. Growth is not a single explosion of change. It is the steady breaking of old limitations. It is tearing away the false beliefs that tell you what you cannot do and replacing them with action that proves exactly what you are capable of. The more you prove it, the more unstoppable you become, because confidence is not found in empty words, but in repeated victories over yourself. There will always be reasons to hold back, excuses that sound logical, fears that feel real. But the moment you give them power, they control the direction of your life. You are not meant to be a servant of fear. You are not meant to live in the shadow of excuses. You are meant to lead yourself, to claim ownership of every decision, to declare through your actions that nothing will dictate your destiny except your own resolve. This is how you create freedom, not the absence of obstacles, but the mastery of them. Your mind is the battlefield where victory is decided long before results are visible. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will reflect it. If your thoughts are strong, your reality will transform to match them. That is why discipline of the mind matters just as much as discipline of the body. Feed yourself with strength. Refuse to entertain the dialogue of defeat. Replace hesitation with certainty. Replace fear with faith in your own capacity to endure and overcome. The power you give to your mind shapes the life you experience. You must stop underestimating what you are capable of. Too often, people measure their strengths based on the weight they currently carry, not realizing that they are equipped to carry far more than they ever imagined. You are capable of greater effort, greater resilience, greater impact than you have yet displayed. But you will never discover it if you keep holding yourself back. You must step beyond the limits you've grown used to and demand more from yourself. That demand is where transformation begins. And once it starts, nothing can stop it. The weight you feel on your shoulders is not meant to crush you. It is meant to awaken you. Every challenge, every disappointment, every rejection has been placed in your path, not as proof of weakness, but as a test of strength. The world does not hand respect to those who beg for it. It gives it to those who rise above the noise and prove through their resilience that nothing can break their spirit. When you stop attaching your value to how others see you and start anchoring it in how you see yourself, everything changes. That shift is the foundation of true power, and it is the kind of power that no one can take away from you. Respect is not demanded with words, it is earned through presence. It is the quiet confidence of someone who no longer needs validation. It is the calm certainty of someone who knows who they are and what they will not tolerate. When you detach from the need to please, you send a message louder than anything you could ever say. You declare that you are whole, that you are complete, and that your worth is not up for negotiation. That declaration is magnetic. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with dignity because dignity is rare in a world that constantly begs for attention. Your silence can speak louder than your voice. Your distance can echo louder than your closeness. When you detach, you remove the game that others are trying to play with you. You no longer dance to their tune. Instead, you create your own rhythm, and they cannot help but notice the strength of it. This is why detachment is not weakness, but the ultimate strength. It is the discipline to walk away without bitterness, to stand firm without anger, and to know that your peace is too valuable to be placed in someone else's hands. When you embody this strength, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop proving and start commanding. This does not come from arrogance, but from alignment with your true self. You no longer compromise who you are just to be seen because you already see yourself clearly. That clarity is irresistible. It shifts the entire dynamic of every relationship because people can sense when they are dealing with someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be broken, someone who has chosen themselves above all else. The respect you crave begins within. If you honor yourself, others will be forced to honor you. If you remain true to your standards, others will rise to meet them or remove themselves. Either way, you win. The moment you decide that your worth is not conditional, you release the chains that kept you waiting for someone else's approval. That freedom is the birth of a new identity, and it is the moment you truly begin to live as the strongest version of yourself.